there, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm so glad you're here because I've been working away all day in my Stampin studio, and then Emily, this is the last week Emily's home. She finished her clinical, and she'll go back to Cincinnati on Friday. So I decided to leave my computer, phone, everything down here and go upstairs, have dinner, whatever, and visit with her a little bit. And then I came down here and ready to go, and I realized I didn't even give a reminder that I'm going live tonight. So I'm very happy people are here. Welcome Gigi and Carol. Who else is here? I'm not seeing all the comments on my computer for some reason. If you're watching, please comment so I know who's here, and maybe let us know where you're from. It seems like every time I'm on live, we meet somebody new or discover somebody lives in an area that we're familiar with or even not familiar, something new to us. And please do share the live also, and that way we'll be inviting others to participate with us. A quick reminder that my Gorgeous Leaves Class to Go registration is happening right now. You have through November 2nd to sign up for the class. And here are some, I don't know how well you can see that. Here are some of the cards that you'll be making. And I'm really excited about this class because I wanted to do a fall class, but I wanted it to be something a little more unique. And so I went with a different kind of color scheme with the soft sage, rich raspberry, and so saffron. And I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. If you don't have those inks, you can add on the ink pads to your Class to Go order. Tonight, we are going to be working with, let me turn this off. We're going to be working with the Picture This dies. This is something I saw in the catalog, the annual catalog, and honestly, I couldn't even think, what would I do with that? What would I do with it? Well, more and more, I've been seeing people use these Picture This dies. And then at my Creative Escape weekend, Jackie Mayer, who's on my team and also is a dear friend of mine and a great helper to me on those weekends, she made this sample, and we got to talking about how you could use, different sentiments, embellish it any way you want, colors, mixing and matching. And by God, by the time I got home, I thought, I really do need to have this. It's something totally different, and I need to work with that. So that is what I did today. So I'm going to make 3 cards with you this evening, and I also have several other samples to show you as we go along. I'm going to flip my camera to show my workspace, and while I'm doing that, if you would be so kind as to share this live video, I would appreciate it very much. And I hope you stay with me right till the very end, because I am going to be giving away the 3 cards that I make in the Facebook Live tonight. So, as I said, my friend Jackie made this sample for me, and she used the circles, Picture This dies. Okay, the circle Picture This die. I'm actually going to use the rectangle one tonight. But next week, I'll be working with the circle die, and we're going to do something really cute, really clever, and quite different. So I hope you'll join me next Wednesday as well for that. And I hope as I go through this demonstration that you are going to fall in love with the Picture This dies as much as I have, because it's just a lot of fun. So here's one sample card I made. I pulled a sentiment from the Inspired Thoughts stamp set. So what I want to show you on this is that you can cut, and I just switched out my greens here from evening evergreen to soft succulent. So on this card, I'm showing that you can die cut the cardstock and then put a single layer of designer series paper behind it. I'm going to move some of this out of the way here. Now, what I'm going to tell you about this die first off is the top and bottom rectangles. Although they are offset, they are the exact same size. Top and bottom are the exact same size. And what I'm going to do is just center this on my cardstock, centering top to bottom, and then centering that middle section left to right. And that looks pretty good. If you feel like you need washi tape or a Post-it note to hold that in place, go ahead and do that. And you'll see when this cuts out, we actually get some beautiful stitched details on both the negative space and the positive space. All right, can you see that pretty detail? It's not quite your typical stitching. Okay, I think you can see that pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is just flip this over, and I like to use my multi-purpose glue when I'm working with this die. Go in between the rectangles, a little bit on each edge, and of course a little bit on the top and bottom. And I get pretty close to the edges of the openings. Now this is the side I want showing from the front. In both of these pieces, the cardstock and the designer series paper are 5.25 by 4 inches. Now, I don't know why I left that the same size, because normally I cut the back piece down a little bit. And I think you can see here that I have a little bit of that showing. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit because I don't want any of that showing from the front. So, like I said, I typically make my cardstock 5.25 by 4 inches and then cut the DSP behind it just a little bit smaller, maybe 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. Okay. I'm going to add this to my card front with some dimensionals. You'll find that with the cards, the different cards I make tonight using the rectangle picture this die, that the layouts are actually quite simple, but it's all the different things that you can do with this, the different ways you can use it, and the different ways you can mix and match. That is where the fun comes in. I'm going to add a piece of white to the inside of my card, and as usual, that measures 5.25 by 4 inches. Like the sample, I'm going to make this a sympathy card as well. And you can see I use the same designer series paper, but the sample is in Evening Evergreen, and this one that I'm making with you uses Soft Succulent. Oh, I'm going to stamp that over. And I'm going to punch it with the fancy label punch. Center it right in there. And what's there? I thought there was a piece missing. So this piece I punched prior to going live, and it used the everyday label punch. Just going to center this fancy label punch on top of the everyday label punch. And then I'm going to put these on my card front, the layers, with Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm trying to think. Kind of wanted to put it in a different place than the first card, just to show you that you can move things around a bit and change up the look. And I have a bow made. I'm sure you remember, I think the easiest way to adhere bows to your paper crafts is by just putting a single glue dot on the back of the knot. Not sure where I want it. I think I'll go right here. All right. So again, we die cut the layer of cardstock and then put a single piece of designer series paper behind it. And let me show you a couple more examples. Does anybody know where this designer series paper came from? Which paper pack it is? Anybody know? Have any guesses? It's not one I would ordinarily purchase. It's from In the Wild, but I love this print. And I think it works well for thinking of you, for sympathies, birthdays, really anything. But it just has kind of a nice, soft, subdued look about it. But here are 3 more examples of cards I made by die cutting the cardstock and then putting a single layer of designer series paper behind it. And all of these DSPs are from the In the Wild paper pack. And in case you're wondering as we go through, that's exactly where I got my color combination. Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, Evening Evergreen, and Soft Succulent. I simply took it from the back of the paper pack where it lists all of the, I need to leave that one out because I'm giving that away, where it lists all of the colors, Stampin' Up! Colors used in that paper pack. Now for the next sample, I'm going to make this and then show you the one. So for the next card, I'm actually going to be using my designer series paper with the rectangle Picture This die. So once again, pull this back in. I want to center this. And by the way, don't get rid of these beautiful pieces, okay? Because you can do a lot of things with those. And we're going to talk about that more as we go along. You can see that the die cuts super well, even with all those beautiful stitched lines. So this is Cajun Craze for my card base. I'm going to adhere basic white to the inside, 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I'm going to adhere my die cut DSP, just like that. And you could pop this up on dimensionals, but I'm going to go ahead and use my multi-purpose glue. You could also put a different color cardstock or maybe a different pattern DSP right behind this one. But I'm going to, for this card, I'm going to adhere it directly to my card front. Okay, just like that. Now I could do some stamping in here, yeah, you know, maybe happy birthday across here, all kinds of things. But remember I said don't get rid of all those pieces that you have? Here are pieces from the cards, left over from the cards I've been making today. So we're going to use some of these in here. And because they all were cut with the same die, they're all going to fit right in these rectangular holes or slots. Now here, I want Cajun Craze, and I could leave it just like that, but I really want that pretty stitched trim on there. So I'm going to adhere all of these just like that. If you want to pop these up on dimensionals, you can. You know what, why don't we just go ahead and do that? Adds a little more interest. Wow, thank you, all of you, for being here. Welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. It's always fun for me to see so many people getting on to watch me share what I do. And I think I'll put this third one on dimensionals also. I could have made them all the same color. I could have used a different pattern. That would get a little busy, but definitely an option. And I'm going to make this a happy birthday card. Move some of these out of the way here. And I really like the happy birthday from the Turtle Friends stamp set. I really like that happy birthday. I use this a lot. So, oh, what was I thinking? No, that's right, that's right. I'm going to stamp this in, I think, the crushed curry. And I'm going to put this on that center rectangle, the crushed curry rectangle. I'm just going to quickly cut each of these at an angle. And you've probably seen my trick before, that if you cut an angle this way and you want to match up that angle, you just take that piece that you cut off, hold it on the other end, and then place your scissors blade right along that one. And then you're going to get the exact same angle on both sides. Oh, Sharon, I'm glad you found that cutting tip helpful. I'm going to place it on there just like that. And you can feel free to embellish more. Here's one I did earlier. Just a simple hello card. Let somebody know that they're thought of. I'll add some gilded gems to this card as well. Actually, I think I want to move that first one over a little more. There. I like that better. All right, what do you think? Okay, so now we've used that rectangle, picture this die, two different ways. Correct? Where am I going with all these? There's so many things all around here. Okay, so we've used it two different ways now. All right, and I have something else to show you. And then we'll make one more card. Well, actually, we'll make the third card and then they'll show you the last two. I think that will be better. So those are two of the cards that I'll be giving away after tonight's live. The third one is this. We start again with using the die to cut our cardstock, but then we're going to put 3 different designer series papers behind it. So you can see that, like I said, it's all basically the same card layout, but we're finding ways to use that die a little bit differently depending on if we're cutting cardstock or designer series paper. And then, like I said, it's really in the mixing and the matching where you can come up with some really fun and unique designs. This is a great way to use up scraps too. You know what, Marty, you are exactly right. We don't always want everything to be perfectly symmetrical, but this takes the guesswork out of making things asymmetrical. Everything still looks balanced. Okay, now where's my little envelope? I pre-cut some pieces here. Make sure I have everything. I'm using a crushed curry card base, and once again, white in the inside of your card. I always suggest that you do that, maybe with not the very lightest colors, but it's just good for you to see when you're writing, and it's easier for people who receive your cards to read what you've written or what you've stamped inside. So on this, I'll lay it out first. I just want to show you basically what the layout's going to be. Okay, I've got my lightest pattern or background in the center. And I think these two heavier, bolder prints even that out, balance it out. So once again, I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. Again, all of these prints are from the In the Wild paper pack. And if you know me, I am not a cat person at all. Not at all. Even at the zoo. I love going to the zoo. Cat house, I don't know. I just have this hard time with cats. So I probably would not have purchased this paper for myself, but I needed to buy some when the catalog first debuted because I was doing a paper share. But honestly, as I've looked at it and found other ways that maybe to use it in ways that don't focus so much on the big tigers and cheetahs and things like that, I find that I am really liking it and putting it to good use. And it really is making me stretch my imagination, to think outside the box. And quite honestly, it's things like this that force me to think outside the box that make me more creative. And the same thing would be true of you. If you challenge yourself a little bit and do some things you maybe aren't 100% comfortable with, maybe a new technique or new color scheme, something like that, or a stamp set you didn't think you would like so much, but you give it a try and play with it 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, you are going to end up liking what you do and learning something. All right, we'll make this a hello card as well. And I'm going to stamp with Cajun Craze. Okay, my pieces are sticking to my sweater. And once again, I'm going to use my fancy label punch, or Label Me Fancy, Label Me Fancy. I think at one time we did have a punch called Fancy Label. But this is called Label Me Fancy Punch. Oh, Katie, or Kieran, I'm sorry, I forgot that the World Series has started. Good for you. You know what? Let's put this in a little bit different place. I think right here will do it for me. Now, interestingly enough, on this card, I use the Evening Evergreen rhinestones from the In Color collection. And while I'm using Crushed Curry cardstock, these Pale Papaya rhinestones really do work well with it. Love my Take Your Pick tool for picking up embellishments and placing them exactly where I want them. Just like that. All right, so this is the third card I'll be giving away. I've got a couple more I want to show you, and then I'll take any questions. Jean is commenting on our ink pads. Jean, just to let you and other people who may not be familiar with the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, Stampin' Up! Ink pads were specifically designed that when they are closed, the cutting pad, or I'm sorry, the stamping pad is actually facing down. Okay, the stamping surface is actually facing down. And the reason for that is it keeps drawing the ink to the stamping surface. All right. So if it remained like this all the time, that ink would be going down towards the plastic. But we want the ink to remain on the surface of the stamping surface. So that's why Stampin' Up! Has them designed to for the pads to be upside down when the cases are closed. All right. So these are the 3 cards that I'll be giving away tonight. You can see it's basically the same layout. I used all the same products, but lots of mixing and matching going on. Some bold designs, some more subtle. Now here are 2 more cards I made. This one, again, I've got the 3 different designer series papers behind it. Congratulations is from, I know somebody's going to ask, Inspired Thoughts. Oh, Inspired Thoughts. Have you seen this stamp set? This is one of my very favorites for sure. I love the sentiments. I love the font. I love the size. So I do pull that one out a lot. And then after I made this card, I used those 3 Evening Evergreen rectangles to make this card. All right. And where are the other ones I showed you earlier? What happened to those? Come on, Mary. With all the Cheetos and things. Don't you hate that when that happens? Honestly, they're here. I know they're here. They've got to be within arm's reach, right? I just wanted to show you those again. Well, isn't that crazy? Oh, here they are. Here they are. I put them on a shelf below. So that was one of my samples. And this was also showing using one designer series paper on the back side, like I did for my sympathy cards. Okay. So what do you think? Does this picture, this dies collection intrigue you a bit? I hope so. I hope so. Next week, we're going to be using the circle picture this die. However, we're not just going to be putting different colors of designer series or cardstock and designer series papers behind. We're going to use some stamped images and make some really cute cards. So make sure you're here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. That'll be November already, November 3rd, to see that, because I'm super excited. I was excited about this. Oh, this is even going to beat that. But honestly, I am so happy that I finally purchased this. And once I started using it, I thought to myself, why didn't I buy this sooner? Why did I not buy this sooner? So anyways, I hope I have inspired you. I hope I've taught you something new. I hope you've picked up a tip, perhaps, to use in your stamping and paper crafting. Thank you for spending part of your evening with me. I do appreciate you. Before I go, are there any questions? Let me scroll back here and see if Vicki says, oh, now she's got to have this die set. I know, it's terrible. We'll blame it on my friend Jackie, who got me going on it. Cookie, thanks so much for sharing. Gigi says, go Braves. I'm looking to see if there were any more questions. Well, I don't think so. Oh, Cecilia, Sharon. Wow, so many people on here. You just made my day. Hi, Pam and Marcia. Becky, Marion. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So I think we're all good. Marty, you're watching from on the road to the Smoky Mountains. I hope this has added to some of your enjoyment of your road trip, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time on your trip. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for viewing today's blog post. Oh, Michelle says, what's the name of the die set again? It's called Picture This Dies. Picture This. And you know what? I can even tell you where it is in the catalog, I believe. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, it's on page 164. 164. All right. It's $34 for the two dies. My opinion is it's well worth the money because it allows for so much versatility, all that mixing and matching. And when you have all these pieces, even if you don't make cards with them right away, save them. You can stamp sentiments on here and put them on other cards, right? Okay, Picture This dies, $34. If you have, yes, Jean, the catalog is online. All of our products are online as well. Okay, and my website is maryknabe.stampinup.net. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you Friday at 2 p.m. right here in the same place, Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Bye-bye.